When you're looking for a way to share what you've learned in any sort of class, one of the great tools that you can use to do this is Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark allows you three options: graphics, web pages, and videos. And so many of these options work beautifully for the things you want to show off. You can choose to start from scratch, or you can go and look for popular layouts and designs that are already made for you. Either way works very well. I'm going to show you very briefly how to use these three tools starting from scratch. When you go to start from scratch, you have your three options. We're going to start with the most basic, which is the graphic. I have branding, which you won't have, so you'll start from scratch and use your education account. We could choose a template design for a particular social post or start with anything custom. For some reason, I prefer the squares, so we'll start there. You can choose photos to begin with, or you can skip that step and go directly to the design and layout itself. From there, you'll be able to choose photos, text, and other design elements. On the right-hand side, you'll see some samples. You also have a full palette in the middle to start with, and you have your tools off to the right. So let's start with something simple for our post. We'll start with one right here, where you might want to have a nice, simple quote. If we click in it, just like it says, you can double click and edit your text. This could be your song title, it could be your history lesson, it could be your English quote that goes with the book that you've been reading, and you have that simply right there. You can see on the right-hand side, this is when your options become available to you. You have the ability to change the font, change the size of it, change the letter spacing, change any of those things, change the opacity, which is how see-through those elements are. All of these are things that are options that are available to you in the graphics or Adobe Spark post options. As you continue down the line, you have additional options. You can change the colors of the different elements, and one of the things that works nicely about Adobe Spark is that it gives you these really nice colors that already go together. And so you can just look and use what you think you might like. Up here at the top is an important undo and redo button, so that if you try something and you don't like it, you can get it back to the way it was. If we move down, continuing, you have the option to change shape of the different design elements that are there and explore what you might like. Again, being able to undo if you go there. Under text effects, you can change some of the features, whether you want to do outline, you can change the line thickness. The options are really endless. The last one has to do with style, and this, as you move around, changes the entire style and options that are available to you. So there are so many choices. When you're done with your Adobe Spark post, you then have the option to download that post up here, or in the share option, you can go ahead and share it directly to a social media page, get an email or link. For most of our students, what you'll want to do is download it and save it somewhere to use again. You'll want to make sure that you give it a name up here. This is my sample student post for right now. And then you've done it. You've created a beautiful looking graphic to go along with your learning. To go back to the main Adobe Spark page, you'll hit the SP, and that takes you back to the page where you will see your sample student post right there. But what if we want to create something different? Instead of creating an Adobe Spark post, let's create a web page. That can seem a little bit daunting, but I've seen students do amazing things with a very simple Adobe Spark page. You can put your sample project title here, whatever that might be. Again, it could be for a Spanish class. Maybe you're wanting to show what you've learned about a particular culture. You add your subtitle here for your particular project. And then just like in your Adobe Spark post, your plus button is where you're going to go get other things. So we can get a photo, and we have an option to upload our own photos, always making sure, of course, that you're using photos that you have rights to use. I like to start with just finding free photos because Adobe Spark has already searched for photos that are in the Creative Commons license. So perhaps I wanted to do a report on animals, and I had done whales as my project. So I have the ability right then to add images directly into my project. As you scroll down, you then have additional options of things that you can add. You can add more photos, more text, you can add a button, a video, photo grid if you have many photos to add, a slideshow, and a split layout. We start with a split layout on the left-hand side, and you can switch that here. I'm going to go ahead and add another image of a whale. And then over here on the right, I could write some of the text and information about the whale. You have some limited features, which is what I like about it. You don't have a lot of choices of how to change your text, but you can select, you can make this section a header, a small header, and you do have some other options. You can also insert a link if you want to refer people to an outside source. And then you continue as you go, adding pieces. When you're done, you have the option to preview, which opens up the page so you can see what others will see when they come to your page, and you'll see how nicely it all pulls together. You can also present it and put it in sort of that public mode, or you can share it via link as well, so you can publish it there. You do have an option in the right-hand corner to change the general theme design, and there are several different themes for you to choose from, which will change the general look of your project if you want to try something different. So that's a quick overview of Adobe Spark page. The final tool in the Adobe Spark library is the Adobe Spark video. And we're going to start from scratch and create our own video. And what you'll see is this is almost a merging of the two tools, the post and the page. So this is our sample student project. And as we know, video is a great way to engage our learners. We're going to start from scratch as well. And you're going to get a slide, what looks like a slideshow on the bottom, where you're going to build your video slide by slide. You can use a combination of photos, text, voice, icons to create your video. So here's what I talked about at the bottom. Up in the middle, you can insert your first item. We'll start with a photo on the first page, and let's say we're continuing our whale project, just so we can go back and find some of our whales. One of the great things is you can actually create an Adobe Spark video and then insert that into your web page. So you have the ability to do that. You could also insert an Adobe Spark post into your video, or insert an Adobe Spark post into the Spark page. So there's lots of flexibility there. When you're ready to add another page, you simply hit the plus button and the page is added. And you can have 4 layout designs here, either a full screen, split screen, caption, or a title and text over it. So let's make this one a caption. And we'll go in and put a photo behind. Let's choose this one. I like the whale tail. And then you can add in some text about your image. Here you have the option to make your text smaller or bigger as you do it, and then it will convert there. So you build those page by page. Over here at the top, you have your layout options that we were looking at. You also have the theme options similar to what you had in your page for this. You have the opportunity to resize if you prefer a square video. And then at the end, you have options to add your music, and you can choose from different music tracks that they have or add music as well. So this gives you some ways to personalize the video that you've created. When you're done, you may preview it like we did the page. You can share it either by publishing it as a link, or you can download it, and then you're able to take that video and put it into different projects. Thank you for letting us look at an overview of Adobe Spark.